Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know, it's weird because it's just me, no Rob with me today, because I am sharing with you the ultimate guide to solo travel on Amtrak. All right, guys, so as you know, we do most of our trips together, but every once in a while we're doing something a little bit different, especially when we're in the US. We're each trying to see family members and siblings and all that kind of good stuff. So we do solo travels also because we can't both be in all the places at the same time. So I was headed to New York to see my sister, to meet up with my sister. So I did a little Amtrak solo travel, and I wanted to share a little bit, share some tips with you and share part of my experience so you can kind of learn from it and use it as you're planning your trip. If you're planning, now I'm experienced and I've been on it enough times that I know the stations, I know the trains, I know all, kind of the ins and outs, and I think that was very helpful to me. But as I was doing that, I was thinking, if this was my first time, I would have a few apprehensions about certain things. So let's dig into it. Let's talk about, we're going to start out talking about your planning process. So for this one, like I said, I was going to New York because I was meeting up with my sister there. So that's, first thing is basically figuring out where you want to go. We'll talk a little bit more about what my top choices are. If you're doing a solo train trip by yourself, I've got my top 3 choices for you here in just a little bit. But, one of the things I really love about traveling by myself, even though I love traveling with Rob too, one of the things I love is that you just kind of go with the flow and you don't really consider anybody else. You just you have freedom to make your choices of whatever it is you want to do. You don't have to, kind of chat anything over. You just decide what you want to do, what you want to eat, all those kinds of things. So there is some freedom built into solo travel, which is really great that you have that. The next thing is, let's talk about also, there's lots of different types of seating, and we're going to dig a little bit more into those in just a moment, but there's lots of different types of seating, and we're also going to talk about comfort, and we're also going to talk about what you need to bring with you to help you through this entire journey. And the thing is, train travel is so fun and it's so easy, and it's just one of those things that for me, it's just always nostalgic. As many times as I've been on the trains, I always find it to be such a, I don't know, I just feel like it's just like the old world or something like that. I don't know why I feel that way, but I just really love it. And I just love how it feels to be on the train and just on a journey like that. I think a lot of it too is just kind of what you see along the way and what you experience along the way. So let's dig into picking out the right train route. And I do have 3 that I think are the top ones. If you're doing this as a vacation, like a solo vacation, I think the top one, and I'm sure you've heard of this one before, is the California Zephyr, and that one goes you can take it from Chicago to Emeryville, which is just a short ride away from San Francisco, or you can take it obviously in the other direction as well. It's breathtaking views, especially from, if you're going to do any portion of it, the very best portion with the very best views, it's going to be from Denver to Emeryville or from Emeryville to Denver. Do not, if you take the California Zephyr, do not miss out on that part, because that is the very best part. You're going to get gorgeous views, not just of the Colorado Rockies. You're going to go over the mountains, you'll see the valleys, you'll see Sierra Nevadas, and then of course you'll go over Donner Pass and down into California. So really beautiful. The other route that I think is really great is also the California Zephyr. If you're on the West Coast, it's perfect. It just goes up. So if you already live on the West Coast, it's the perfect one to take because it just goes up the California coast and up into Seattle. So it goes from LA to Seattle, and that one is a great ride. You get gorgeous views of the water through California, so make sure you do not miss out on that, especially if you're like me and you love the beach or you love the water or anything to do with the water. This is the one for you. And then the third one, which this one is I call this one the sleeper route, because a lot of people don't think about the Empire Builder being a great route. to take with beautiful views, but it really does. It goes from Chicago to Seattle, and the views start not long after you leave Chicago. You end up going over the Mississippi River, and as you come across the country over, you kind of run the edge of Glacier National Park. Actually, one of the stations is East Glacier National Park, so if people are going to the park, they come and pick you up there at the station and take you into the park or your accommodations or whatever you arrange. And then, you know, you get to see the Columbia River, Puget Sound, going over the Cascades. I mean, so many beautiful things you don't want to miss out. So those are my top 3 that I think you really don't want to miss out on when you're planning your solo trip on Amtrak. So the next thing I want to talk about is staying safe on board. This one is super important, and this one starts from the minute you get to the station. If you're riding one of those routes, you're going to be at a big train station when you start and when you end, if you're doing the whole route. If you're stopping in between, make sure you check the schedule and what the possible scheduled arrival time is. Now, the issue with Amtrak is that a lot of times they are running late, and so it's really hard to, you know, plan to not be in a place at a particular time because you don't know when you'll arrive for sure. Generally speaking, they're usually about 2 hours or so late, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. But in general, in my experience, they have been about 2-ish hours late. From the most late was 12 hours, and the closest we've gotten is like 15 to 30 minutes. So just kind of know that whatever station you're going to, you're going to be arriving at, you know, a different time than what it says you'll be arriving. There's a pretty small chance you'll arrive exactly at the time that your ticket says that you're going to arrive. Now, you will be taking off on time. If you get on at the very first station, you'll be on time. Generally. Sometimes it's delayed because there's, you know, traffic or a problem with the train or something, but for the most part, they pretty much always leave on time. It just, you know, with freight traffic, they get slower and slower as they start making their way through that. So that's the first thing, is to pay attention to the time, so you don't end up, you know, in the middle of nowhere with an unstaffed, station, at an unstaffed station in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. Make sure you make arrangements and you have someone or something to take care of not being left out in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night. If you're going to be at one of the bigger stations, like if you're going to be at either Chicago, or like for me, I was going to New York, or, you know, Emeryville or LA, the station themselves they do a very good job of just having security at the station. Just, you know, stay in well-lit areas and things like that. The usual things that you would do, and just kind of looking around to stay safe at the stations. Now, the biggest thing on the train itself is what you pack. So you want to have your valuables all in one bag so that it is easy for you to take with you wherever you go. You will not ever leave this bag ever in your seat. When you're on the train, even when you go to the bathroom, you're going to bring that bag with you. You do not want to leave it behind. Always have your valuables in that one bag. If you leave your snack bag behind, big deal. Somebody gets into it, no problem. But you do not want to lose track of your valuables. Always, always, always have those with you, no matter where you're going on the train. The other thing is that Amtrak staff is amazing. They are so helpful, and if you have any problem whatsoever, you can let them know, hey, this person next to me is not working out. I have got to go someplace else. Please help me. They will help you. They will not think twice about assisting you, and they will not dismiss you, is what I think is really great. I did see somebody say, this guy keeps talking to me that's next to me. He's making me really uncomfortable with the things he's saying, and they moved her. They moved her to a completely different train car, but they made it look like she was getting off the train. And so she just kind of made it, you know, they helped her, made it look like she was getting off, and she grabbed her things and she left. And later I saw she was in I happened to notice her in another train car, and the guy never knew because they made it look very good. So it was very helpful. Like I said, the staff is there to assist you. The next thing is to just make sure, as you should always as a solo traveler, make sure that somebody knows your schedule, where you're supposed to be and at what time, so that they can check. Make sure they know your train number, the time it's supposed to leave, what time you should be arriving at your destination, so that they can keep track of that, even letting them know where you are going to be staying. I think that's always important anyways, whether you're a solo traveler or not. Always letting somebody know where you are going to be. If also you see anything, you know, even if it doesn't relate to you, if you see anything that's questionable, definitely tell the staff something. Don't feel like you have to confront somebody, because that's why the staff is there to intervene for you. Just let them know, take a note of, you know, where they're sitting, what they're wearing maybe as you're walking away, to find somebody, you know, a staff person to tell. But they should be able to help you. The main thing is, if you don't see somebody directly in your train car, like say you're sitting there and you're like, oh gosh, I need to say something to somebody, but I don't see anyone around, the very best thing to do is head to the cafe car or the observation car. There's almost always a staff person in those places, and you could tell them. And even if they're not the right person to tell, they will immediately get the correct person for you. They will get your attendant or the conductor, and they will take care of it as quickly as possible. That's what they're there for. Also know that although you may not know who they are, there is always a plainclothes Amtrak police officer in every train car. So there's also a police officer on the train car at all times. So that is also there for your protection as well. So just kind of know that there are quite a few things in place to help you with safety on the trains. One thing that I think is really important too is minimizing the number of times, not saying don't get out of your seat, but minimizing the number of times you're getting up and out of your seat and bringing all your stuff with you all the time. Is one thing I did was I didn't want to have to get up a bunch of times, plus I didn't want to have to eat the stuff, only the stuff that's available in the snack, in the cafe car. So I brought extra snacks with me of things that I could eat. Then I didn't feel like I had to get up all the time to go get, you know, my different meals on the train. That way I can just get up and kind of walk around in my same train car, just get up and move my feet a little bit. Still took my backpack with me, but of my valuables, but I was still moving around a little bit. So it wasn't like you just stay in your seat the whole time, but minimize the number of times that you have to leave your train car or leave your seat completely unattended. If you can, I would go ahead and check my bags, because that way you don't have to worry about, especially if you're in coach, you don't have to worry about your bag being taken from, because if you're in a superliner, your bag's going to be downstairs in the luggage car. So you won't actually be seeing it. It won't be in, you know, your line of sight unless you're downstairs, and the only seating downstairs is accessible seating. So you're not really going to have access to, you know, seeing. You won't be able to see the bag while you're on the train. It's going to be separated from you. But if you just have like a carry-on, that's going to be in the overhead bin above you. Or, you know, if you want to put your valuables bag, I always keep mine with me. I keep it either in the seat in front of me, or if I have my footrest up, like if I'm going to take a nap or something, I put it underneath my footrest all the way up against one side. I usually can get a window seat, and if you can, that's what I would go for. You can't generally pick your seats beforehand if you're in coach. I was riding in coach when I went solo. You can't usually pick your seats beforehand. It's just kind of a first come, first serve situation. So I would try to get on the train as quickly as possible. Now, if you are really concerned about safety and you're going to be on the train for more than one day and you're going to be sleeping, I would strongly consider getting a sleeper car. And your very best bet is going to be to get a roomette, and it is going to be a little bit cheaper than if there was two of you. You do get a little bit of a discount, but it is going to be the best bet, because in the sleeper cars, and I would recommend the roomette for one person, it's no big deal, because you have the bottom bed and the top bed. You don't have to put the top down, so you have it all kinds of space if you wanted to sit up and read, or if you wanted to lay down, whatever you want to do. that's really the very best option for solo travel, I think, because you've got the privacy of a closing door. And when you're in the room, the door actually locks. There's a latch that closes the door that cannot be opened from the outside. You do have the curtains that cover as well. While in coach, you're just kind of out in the open. It's kind of like sitting in an airplane, you know, it's just open and everybody can see everyone, because you're just sitting there. Now it is comfortable because you can lay the seat back more than you can on an airplane, and like I said earlier, you have the footrest as well that you can put up, so you can put your legs up and you can lay back farther than you would on an airplane, but you can't lie all the way flat like you can in a sleeper car. So that's really one of the better options for solo traveling, is to get that sleeper car, because you do have you know, the ability to lay all the way down with a pillow, with a blanket, and you'll have the security of knowing all of your things are in the room. Now know that when you're not in the room, you cannot lock the room. However, in my experience, I have never had an issue or seen an issue with anything go missing from a sleeper car room. Generally what I do is I will pull the curtain shut, because the door will just slide open. Even if you close it, with the movement of the train, the door is going to slide open. And then it's just going to be open when you get back to the room and you're like, oh my gosh, did somebody go in my room? Not usually. But what I do is I pull that curtain shut and Velcro once I'm outside the room, so then whoever's outside can't tell if there's someone in the room or not, because the curtain is closed. So that is nice that you can do that. Generally, like I said, I've never had a problem ever personally, and have never actually heard anyone having a problem or anything go missing from the room. The other great thing about the sleeper rooms also is that you do get all of your meals included with your fare. So you'll get breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you also get to meet other people that are in the sleeper cars, because generally you're going to be sharing a table with people who are in your train car as well. So that's really nice, that you'll be able to meet people while you're on, you know, while you're having meals and things like that. Now, like I was saying earlier about night stops and layovers. So night stops, if you're getting off the train late or something, then again, make sure that you have some place to go and that you have a plan in place, so that you're not left stranded out in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. But the other thing is layovers. If you're trying to put a whole vacation together and you're doing maybe 2 trains back to back, I would highly discourage you from booking them back to back, because of the time issue that I mentioned earlier. Generally the trains run late, and so the other train is not going to wait. Even if a bunch of travelers or passengers are on the train that's late, they're not going to sit and wait for them. They're just going to go when it's, you know, when it's time for them to go, because then they're going to be late to start. And then that just starts a whole domino effect. They're really trying to be on time as much as possible. It's just almost impossible with the freight traffic to do that. But layovers, I highly suggest staying someplace for the night and then getting on your train, you know, the next day or 2. You can make a little vacation out of it and stay in your layover city for 1 to 2 days and just kind of hang out and do some fun things there, rather than having the stress of trying to, you know, gosh, I hope my train makes it. Or even if you're taking the train to go somewhere, discourage you also from planning to arrive the day that you're doing something. Like for instance, if you're taking the train to go on a cruise, which I've done lots of times, you do not want to take it the day that your cruise leaves, saying, oh, the train arrives at, you know, 2 o'clock and I need to be on the ship by 4. That's no problem, except for the fact that the train is going to be late, as I mentioned earlier. So do not plan something like that, or you are going to be very stressed and very disappointed if you get left behind. Another thing to consider is also staying connected throughout the trip. Make sure that your phone is charged. One of the big things problems with coach is that there's 2 outlets in coach. They're both at the window seat. So if you're traveling solo and say you're sitting at the window, you've got access to both outlets. But say you don't know the person who's in the aisle seat and they want to charge their phone, what's going to happen? Their cord's going to come stringing across the front of you, right? So one of the things, or if you end up in the aisle, you don't want to have your cord stringing across. One of the things I always travel with is a portable charger. That way I can plug my phone right in. I don't have to worry about, oh, don't forget to unplug it when you go to the bathroom and bring it with you for your valuable stuff. You don't have to worry about that because you can just throw it into your bag, let it charge, and you've got no problem. Same thing, you can charge, your Kindle, tablets, anything like that, you can charge right off of one of those portable chargers. Also love the travel adapter. If you're in a roomette, you only get one outlet in the roomette, and you're probably going to charge more than one thing, more than just your phone, maybe your phone, your tablet, your headphones, anything like that. Then I would recommend the travel adapter for that. The one that I use, and I've got links for the portable charger and the travel adapter down below in the description, but the great thing about the travel adapter is that you can charge 5 things at once because you've got an outlet, but you also have some USB and USB-C inputs as well, so you can charge all of those and something into the electrical outlet all at the same time, which is really great when you've got lots of things to charge. I was charging my camera, my phone, and my Kindle, so it was really important for me to, be able to stay connected. Also note that there are a few spots on the train rides. There is generally no Wi-Fi on Amtrak. It's very rare. You're better, and even when they do have it, it's not very good. You're better off just using your cell service. And even then, there are several stretches among different rides that have no cell service at all. Like say if you're on the Coast Starlight going over the Cascades, you will have no cell service for I think like an hour, hour and a half. And they usually come on and tell you, hey, you're not going to have cell service. Or like if you're on the California Zephyr in the Moffat Tunnel, you're not going to have cell service. And there's a couple of spots also coming over the mountains that you also don't have cell service. Like I said, they almost always come on and let you know, hey guys, finish up whatever you're doing because you're not going to have any cell service as soon as we, get to such and such area for X amount of time. So pay attention to those announcements as well. And sometimes there's just, internet outages or whatever. As I mentioned earlier about bringing food so that you can so that you don't have to leave your seat that often. The other reason for that also is because sometimes there are issues with the cafe car. So one time got on the train, and the second I got on the train, they were like, hey, sorry, our cafe car is down and we can't accept cash right now and we can't accept credit cards right now. So they have food, but they can't sell it to you. And I was starving too. Thankfully, the problem continued, then they were having a hard time doing it. So they actually have food that they offered us on the train, these little snack trays, which was just enough to take the edge off, which was really nice, but that's not always the case. So it is nice to have something with you. Anyways, even if you don't mind getting up out of your seat, I think it's still good to have something with you just as a backup. And then if you don't end up eating it, no problem. Just take it with you and eat it as a snack wherever you're going, or whatever along the way. So just making sure, kind of a little review here, making sure that you pick the right seat or the right sleeper car accommodation. If you're in coach, try to get a window seat if you can. If not, it is what it is, but try to get a window seat if you can. And then if you're in the sleeper cars, just get the roomette, save the money there, because you do get a little bit of a discount for having it solo. For safety, always know that Amtrak staff is there to help you as much as possible. If you have any problems whatsoever, let them know. We did have trouble one time with a guy who just kind of kept following in the different train cars. So we said something and they said something. And it was not an issue after that. So make sure you say something, because the Amtrak staff is more than happy to help you. And then don't be afraid to, chat with people and to have friendly conversations. Of course, guarding the information of where exactly you're going and those types of things, general safety tips, and then keeping track of the train. Where's it going, and what time am I expected to get off. Just open up the Amtrak app and you can, you know, track a train on there, track your train, put in the station that you're getting off at, and it will give you the estimated time. And it's usually kept up pretty up to date. So that's really going to help you out, guys. Hopefully this has helped you out and helped you to kind of move forward in a decision to take a train ride, you know, on Amtrak by yourself, to go solo. It's actually quite fun, and it is really fun to meet other people on the train. I met people in the observation car. They were super nice, and it's just really fun, I think. And I think that it's the perfect way for solo travel, because of course you don't want to solo travel driving someplace across the country, and it's not as fun flying. I think the train travel is really good because the vacation is built into the actual mode of transportation, so that's why I think it's so great. Let me know if you have any more questions. Leave those down in the comments. Hopefully this was helpful to you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got tons of useful and helpful information on here. You can go to our website, groundedlifetravel.com, for more. And if you enjoyed it, give me a like. I'll see you next time.